Plato ideal state has how many classes? Rulers, auxiliary, producers. Plato justice, harmony among classes. Each doing its own work. Plato communism property for rulers, auxiliaries to avoid corruption. Plato philosopher king. Ruler guided by reason, knowledge of forms. Aristotle called man a political animal. Aristotle state exists for good life, not just survival. Life. Aristotle classification of constitution. 6 types: monarchy, aristocracy, polity, tyranny, oligarchy, democracy. Plato versus Aristotle property. Plato abolishes. Aristotle defends private property. Plato dominance to state. Aristotle view on slavery. Aristotle teleology. Everything has a purpose. Aristotle golden means. Virtue as mean between extremes. Virtue. Real world is a reflection of ideal forms. Plato versus Aristotle. Natural some are born to serve. Aristotle. Best practical regime. Polity ruled by middle class. Aristotle. Tyranny, monarchy, aristocracy, polity. Plato ideal number of citizens. 5040. Machiavellian religion. Tool for political control. Japan Saturday আছে যাবে Augustine on state. Augustine on state. Result of original sin. Courtship. Machiavelli the prince. Machiavelli. Prince. Separation. Politics from ethics. Machiavelli. Prince. Separation politics from ethics. Machiavelli virtue. Skill, strength, ruler, not morality. Machiavelli on religion. Tool for political control. Machiavelli republic. Best for freedom. But needs civic virtue. Civic virtue. Church was state in Middle Ages. Supremacy versus secular power. Chance to be conquered by virtue. Private property, natural use for common good. Machiavellian republics, best for freedom. Machiavelli end justifies means. Political success over moral law. Political success over moral law. Machiavelli end justifies means. Popular sovereignty, defense pass. Natural chance to be conquered by the virtue. Augustine on war, just war doctrine. Augustine Augustine. Machiavelli, civic humanism, active citizenship or republic. Active citizenship or republic. Aquinas on slavery. Natural but regulated by law. Machiavellian army, citizen militia, better than mercenaries. Revolution against tyranny, Aquinas with caution. Machiavelli, pessimistic human nature, selfish, fickle. Augustine, necessary duty sin. Augustine on caution, necessary duty sin. Machiavelli, republicanism, mixed constitution, check balance. Machiavelli founding, founder must use force plus law. Aquinas natural law. Eternal law. Machiavelli Italy. Augustine peace, tranquility of order. Of state of nature. War of all against all. War of all against all. Of sovereign, state of nature. Of sovereign, absolute indivisible leviathan. Of absolute indivisible sovereign. Of social contract. Surrender all rights to sovereign. Surrender all rights to sovereign. Locke, state of nature, is full with natural rights. Locke's natural rights, life, liberty, property. Locke's government, limited by consent, right to revolt. Unity government. Rousseau, state of nature, noble, savage, free and equal. Rousseau, nature, noble, savage, free and equal. Rousseau, general will, common good, indivisible, inalienable. Rousseau, social contract, total alienation to community. Hobbes, Rousseau, social contract, total alienation to community. Will. Hobbes, Locke's property. Hobbes, known. Locke, natural rights. Plato, assured individual. Plato, state. Hobbes, state. Locke, toleration, religious toleration except atheists. Rousseau, sovereignty, popular, direct, cannot be represented. Rousseau, sovereignty, popular. Hobbes on human nature. Hobbes, selfish, fear-driven. Selfish. Hobbes, human nature, selfish, fear-driven. Locke on executive power, prerogative to act for public good. Rousseau on education, email, natural education. Hobbes on law, command for sovereign command. Locke, tolerance. Locke. Locke, tolerations. Prerogative to act to public goods. Locke. Natural education. Rousseau education. Law and legislative power. Supreme, but limited by the natural law. Obeying general will, true freedom. Rousseau on liberty. Sovereign control church. Hobbes on religion. Hobbes religious toleration except atheist plus Catholics. Popular dialect cannot be represented. Rousseau sovereignty. Hobbes on human nature. Selfish, fear driven. Prerogative to act for public good. Rousseau on education. Female natural education. Rousseau. Command sovereign. Locke legislative power. Supreme but limited by the natural law. Locke natural law. Rousseau liberty. Obeying general will. True freedom. Hobbes of religion. Sovereignty controls church. Hobbes on democracy. No absolute monarchy. Best. Absolute monarchy best. Hobbes. Rousseau on inequality. Social inequality from private property. Locke on separation powers. Legislative, executive, federative. Locke. Sovereign control church. Hobbes. Rousseau on liberty. Obeying general will. True freedom. Obeying general will. Locke on charity. Duty of rich, not right of poor. Hobbes on individualism. Methodological individualism. Bentham. Utilitarianism. Bentham. Greatest happiness. Bentham. Yes, Mill. State only to prevent harm to others. Mill. Liberty. Liberty, individual autonomy. Best for liberty education. Males and women's rights. Subjection of women. Bentham. Utilitarianism. Males utilitarianism. Quality higher or lower pleasures. T.H. Green. Positive liberty. Capacity to realize liberty. Rawls. Original positions. Equal liberty for all. Rawls. Second principle. Locke. Classical liberalism. Limited government and natural rights. Locke. Limited government. Natural rights. Limited government. Natural rights. Green. New liberalism. State enables positive freedom. Mill on colonialism. Justified for backward society. Mill colonialism. Justified for backward society. Mill. Bentham law. Legal positivism. Role on justice. Fairness, not utilitarianism. Mill on tyranny of majority. A social conformity threat to liberty. State promotes moral self. Green. New liberalism. Bentham codified law. Administrative reforms. Mill on socialism. Marx. Class struggle. Mode of productions. Marx alienation. Worker separated from product. Labor species being marked surplus value. The economy determines. Stateless, classless society, Marx communism, Engels and family, origin of private property, Gramsci hegemony, cultural consent, civil society, Gramsci, Marx and religion, opium peoples, Marx and state, instrumental ruling class.